life into the community. Log on to www.wcegtalkradio.com. Watch us live on your smart TV, on your Roku cable channel, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I am Jeremy Walker, the host of Today 2.0, with my amazing sister, my amazing partner in crime, Miss Tiffany Morman. We would like for you to subscribe for free on YouTube channels for WCEG Network. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and connect with us on LinkedIn Fanbase, Blue Sky, and Threads. You can download our free WCEG mobile app. You can say, Alexa, play WCEG Talk Radio, and then listen to WCEG on any of our 12 podcast distribution platforms. Last but not least, our disclaimer: the topics and opinions are those of the show host, and the guests are not WCG Networks. Thank you for your continued support, and man, happy Friday. Woo. This
It
is
is
so
very,
amazing. Tiff, how you doing? How's your week?
oh, Jeremy, what a wonderful week it has been. Spent some lovely time with my AUSA sisters and brothers yesterday at the volunteer appreciation with the big sis
Mhm.
Vivian there, our
Yeah,
lovely producer, and was given a bouquet of flowers by Sergeant Major Scarlett Williams, retired AUSA chapter president here. Just because she's a lovely lady,
yeah.
and she had Senator John Ossoff's office in there presenting awards for us, as well
Wow.
as a future guest for us next year. Senator Tanya Anderson was there, so we got to spend some time with some lovely folks yesterday. So, and
Okay.
today I'm working. I have two headphone parties with my business, the headphone company, and
Uh-huh.
right now I just set up one DJ. I'm gonna do this lovely interview with our lovely ladies, our airborne troopers today, and then we're gonna go ahead and execute the next party. Okay? How you
Man,
doing?
I'm trying to be like you. You keep telling me to slow down, and you're going fast, so I'm just gonna stay on the same pace with that. I missed the meeting yesterday, and then it was at Green Manor, so they had really good food. I'm like, you got to be kidding me on that part. But yeah, we got the show today, and I'm so excited about our guest here. Next week, I'm gonna be with you at the USO, the volunteer mission that we got going on. So, for those that are listeners that don't know, at the USO in the airport, we're helping give out food and different things. And man, Tiffany is an amazing chef. She's gonna have hamburgers and different things like that. So, if you know anybody that's traveling, or if you decide you want to stop by, or you want to volunteer yourself, check us out on LinkedIn. Follow me. I've already posted it, and I'll resend it this weekend. Um, I'm starting to go 400 miles per hour with homeless to boots. It's just amazing, partnering with Medicare and Medicaid companies, making sure the information is getting out there for our seniors. And then yeah, other than normally taking over Atlanta, that's what I'm doing. So
Always, always.
yeah. So, and then we had the rooftop last night. Every Thursday we do the network mixer with the Atlanta Airport Chamber. I get to run that and help all the veterans, all the different people, small business owners or whatever, enhance their business. So it's just like, hey, you come up, it's a free event. It's one of the most beautiful places in Atlanta, especially when the sun goes down. You get this picturesque view of the backside of the airport, and it looks like a Christmas tree. It
Where's
is amazing. This is at the Kimpton Hotel up in Atlanta, in Hateville.
got you?
So that's my other stomping ground. My cool auntie, which is Miss Carmelita Scott. She's the president of the airport chamber, and she's an Army veteran spouse. Cool. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so we joke about that all the time. We have great banter, but all services are welcome. Every from small business owners, we have corporate partners that come out. So this is where we truly want to try to make things grow. And then we're starting a new initiative where we're bringing all the chambers together. So every week, every Thursday, we're going to have a different chamber out so you can help grow your business. So I look forward to welcoming anybody. And then we just did a booster business class. So we have four more new veterans and spouses that actually have completed the course, looking to start some entrepreneurship roles and then connecting with people in this space. And so the new format working with the Vector Center is, let's do the courses on Wednesday and Thursday, and then invite the graduates out to the rooftop on Thursday. So now you get a chance to practice networking and, hey, telling people about your business and so forth. And I'll be there, so I'll help navigate that environment. So I'm looking so forward to doing that. Yeah,
Love, love, love,
yeah,
love.
yeah. So, without any further ado, since you were talking about these airborne rangers over here, that's right. I got to get it started. First and foremost, thank you for coming out. Today we have the lovely Anisa Palmer and the lovely Miss Cynthia Barren to grace us with their presence. You talking about some powerhouses in the nonprofit space. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this show about nonprofits is because a lot of us, once we get out the military, are looking for purpose. And sometimes you jump into that job and be like, yeah, I got a lot of money, but I don't have any feeling behind it. I miss being in the uniform and all of a sudden knowing automatically I had this purpose that was greater than me. So why not volunteer? I volunteered when I first got out as an AAU basketball coach. It was amazing to be able to give back to some young men and watch 9 out of 12 of them actually go in the military because they all had single mothers but no dads and different things like that. So our impact is so greatly felt. But then just meeting Anissa and then now meeting Miss Cynthia, I was like, hey, you know what? The world needs to know about you guys, and I want them to feel your impact and how much love you show, not just the veteran community, but just the world. So, without further ado, let me get started with my sister in crime or partner in crime over here, Miss Anisa Palmer. She has an award-winning nonprofit. She's an author, speaker. She's a consultant and a Forbes contributor. Anisa was born and raised in St. Croix, the Virgin Islands, and is the chief executive officer for the I Will Survive 501c3. Since 2010, they serve the metro area of Atlanta and with a mission to provide economic support, prevention education, and health and wellness services to those at a higher risk and those affected by breast cancer. She left the military as a combat veteran to fight health disparities in underserved communities in honor of her late mother, who she lost to a fight with breast cancer. Sorry about that, Anissa. I know how that feels. Um, the Army presented Anissa Palmer with the Iron Warrior Award. She's got a Bronze Star, MSM Meritorious Service Medal, Army Commendation, and Army Achievement Medal, National Defense Service Ribbon, and the Army Overseas Ribbon. Oh, she also has a parachute badge, combat action badge for service from 2006 to 2010. She was then presented with the Phoenix Award from the former Mayor Kasim Reed for the city of Atlanta in 2014 and honored as a finalist in the Atlanta Business Chronicle as a Small Business Person of the Year for Veteran Entrepreneurs in 2017 for her leadership and service with nonprofit organizations. I Will Survive. Go figure. Man, I love the name of that. I Will Survive. Join an incredible list of women around the nation with the Walker's Legacy Power 25 honoree in 2017. And then she was presented with the proclamation from the mayor, Donna Pittman, for the city of Doraville with the I Will Survive Day, April 18, 2015, for an outstanding service in the community in 2016. Now, she was honored in the Who's Who of Black Atlanta 18th edition, 2018, with the Norma Clayton and others. And then as a chief executive officer with the Palmer Firm Group LLC. Ms. Palmer is also a certified grant writer, certified nonprofit professional, certified professional life coach, public speaker, and published author. Purchase her books, go figure, The Ultimate Climax on Amazon, right? And check this out. Anissa also has the first veteran magazine in Atlanta. Oh my God.
I need to
She just
advertise.
posted last year. My sister has been doing some things, and so she's completed her bachelor's of arts in speech communications from Georgia State University and obtained a master's in public administration from the University of Central Florida. Her studies mainly focus on nonprofit management in disadvantaged communities and public health administrations. Please welcome my sister, the amazing Anissa Palmer. Anissa, how you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Jeremy, Tiffany, WCEG, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here with you all today.
Thank you so much. Now, Tiffany, if you will, please do me the pleasure of introducing Miss Cynthia Barren, Airborne Air Assault Group.
Okay, so Cynthia did send in a lovely bio with a lot of great information, but let me tell you something about my beautiful sister right here. This is truly my big sister. We served together in the Army, we deployed together in the Army. We have been since the day we both retired from Arcent here in Atlanta. Cynthia is from California, so she's a true Cali girl. But
Okay.
we are Atlanta fans. We go to the Hawks games, we go to the Falcons games. We do all of our let me get back to formal. This angel right here is such an amazing lady. First of all, like I said, she is from California. I met her here in Atlanta. We served together, and I'm going to take off those glasses because I'm receiving text messages in my ears, right? But Cynthia Barren from 2012 is when we both retired, and then she went
Mhm.
on to become a GS or an instructor because her heart is giving, her heart is in service. Even when she was in the military, she was one of my go-to sergeant majors that I could go to and get assistance when I was the BRAC officer there at Arcent, right? I don't
Mhm.
know. I was a baby major. She was a full-blown sergeant major. And those colonels and those generals were not trying to listen to me. Those senior NCOs were not trying to listen to me. But
Mm.
Cynthia was one of those ones that when I said, hey, I'm going to go get Sergeant Major Barron on you. Yeah, her and George Fields, right? Colonel Fields were my two main people that were big time. So immediately upon retiring, we immediately chartered the Black Veterans Helping Veterans nonprofit,
Mm.
um, which was a great task, right, Cynthia? With some lovely
Absolutely.
people who were from up north, but they saw that all the benefits were going up north, and none of the veterans from down south in the south of 20 in Atlanta, if you know what I mean,
Oh,
were
yeah.
Yeah.
we weren't getting our benefits and entitlements, and we weren't being heard, and we were being told no way more than the people north of 20, if you will. So
Mm.
right away we got into that, and started getting entitlements and benefits for Vietnam veterans that were walking around with 0% and no didn't want to deal with the VA. So then we became members of the Triple Nickels with Sergeant Major Ashford. Right away, Cynthia was a leader in that organization. I was a leader in that organization. We grew those scholarships right away. We were in the schools right away, traveling. Cynthia has done every position. She's been Trooper of the Year with the Triple Nickels at, I believe, every level, national level, SER, regional level, as well as local level, just like myself, airborne.
Okay.
Here in the VFW, right away we're both combat veterans. Right away we became senior vice commanders, junior vice commanders, any trustee position, any secretary position, always serving. Anytime
Mm.
Georgia Families nonprofit came, Cynthia even we hunted down one of the airborne troopers of the Triple Nickels, the first Black paratroopers in the United States Army that
Yeah.
entered the, we hunt them down. And I'll say Cynthia is a true hunter of the paratroopers, and such a big heart of giving, such a big heart of giving and recognizing and keeping the legacies alive, just just like turning her pain of losing both of her parents right into purpose. She turned that pain right into purpose. I'm so sorry, Cynthia, for bringing that up.
Thank you. Thank
But
you.
I know that you becoming the president of the running club was immediately after that, and you turned your pain into purpose, and you grew that club, and you took care of those runners. So, without further ado,
If you about to make me cry, man, I need to hold them
Don't
tears
make
in.
me cry.
anytime and
You
every
about to
time I
make me
need,
cry over here.
anytime and anytime you need anything, Cynthia's gonna be there. She's gonna be your leader. She's gonna be your executor. She's gonna be your coordinator. She's gonna bring volunteers. She's gonna donate money. She's gonna support your small business. I have three small businesses. Cynthia has supported all three of them. Every time we
Mm.
do anything, giving away food, feeding Georgia families, she is there. So without further ado, this is your nonprofit leader here. Thank you, Cynthia Barron, for being
Mm.
here.
Oh, and now thank you, Tiffany, my dear sister, my little sister. Now that's better than any bio anybody could have ever written. I need to take her
For
on the
real.
road with me.
Yeah.
I am so grateful to be here.
Wow.
Yeah, I need to take her on the road. So yeah, very grateful to be here. Uh, Tiffany she took me back down memory lane. I forgot about early stages of Veterans Helping Veterans when we were meeting at Mr. Jackson's building there in East Point. We go many years back, and we've been joined at
Mm.
the hips since Arcent. all the way through today. So I appreciate the introduction. It was fire. Um, and I absolutely love this, sister. We started our nonprofit journey together with these different
Wow.
organizations, and we are joined at the hip. From this day forward, it's forever settled in heaven that we
Just
will
like
be
David.
serving the community together.
Maki,
Wow.
Exactly.
So with that being said, that passion that Tiffany just gave, and I hope I showed Anissa the same love. But I'm gonna be honest with you, this is why we've done this. That's why I like certain topics or whatever case is. And in the nonprofit space, when you have people who can and just encourage that type of emotion, that type of fire, and just listen to your story, listen to your bio. Nisa lost her mom, to breast cancer. You lost both of your parents. I lost both of my parents 2 years ago. And it was just like, we're all so connected in this space. It's like, well, wait a minute. The military, the biggest thing about the military is what? Suck it up and drive on. We're machines. You don't have feelings in the military. And now you get out and you're looking for this space. And one things that I talk about a lot with helmets to boots and what we talk about on this show is the love that we get out, the camaraderie, the family that we miss when we take the uniform off. Georgia's like the seventh largest state when it comes to veteran populace. You're looking at 765,000 of us, the veteran. But then when you put the family members, it's 1.2 or 1.7 million. Like, wait a minute. What happens to that unity? What happens to that love? But then now we understand why we have a high suicide rate. So for individuals like yourselves that come out and say, you know what, I continue to serve, not just because I put the uniform on, it's because of the love I have in myself, the people that inspired us from childhood. You know, we give from the heart because that was instilled in us from childhood, and then we go into service, and then that's embellished. And now you get out, and here you go. Woo, what did we just say earlier? Wonder Woman and
And
what
Marvel.
Captain Marvel over here? I was like,
Wonder
really?
Woman. Yes, yes.
What? So this is why I want to start off on just get, oh my God, I feel so enriched today and so blessed going into this weekend. So thank you guys for being here. So, Anissa, Cynthia, tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us a little bit, how you started off, why you went in the military, then turn around and like, what'd you do after you got out, and then how'd you get to this space?
Sure, absolutely. I lost my mom at such a young age. And so I know we talked about this, Jeremy, when you lost
Mhm.
both your parents, my heart still goes out to you.
Yeah.
And love that you shared too, Cynthia's story about turning that pain into purpose. And so I didn't know that I would be in this line of work during my service in the military. I thought I would retire. I was set out to do 35 years. And I remember running down, with my 82nd Airborne Division on our typical 10-mile run in the morning. And I said, yes, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to serve. I want to impact soldiers and lead soldiers. And I got all the soldiers who were ate up, couldn't pass PT test, all the things, and I turned things around. And I think I became an asset so quickly in every company, battalion I became attached to. And so I think when I had those conversations of God gave me a higher calling, I'm seeing a mirage of my mom in Iraq in my second deployment. And I said, okay, God, I hear you loud and clear. I'm not retiring here. You're sending me on another mission. And so taking the uniform off physically, but still keeping it on spiritually, mentally, to do this work when I saw the highest need where I did my undergrad at Georgia State University. I said, wow, mortality rate for Black women is higher across the nation. And this is a problem. Although I grew up in the Virgin Islands, our healthcare was just way backwards, but Georgia is very backwards when you compare it to northern states. And so I
Mhm.
said, okay, there's a need. How can I make an impact? And I listened to the community, which sometimes nonprofit leaders, I think we don't do that good enough. And so when we talk about how we can serve better, listen to the community, knowing what your
Yeah.
mission is, no mission thing. And okay, I said, from listening to the community, rent, mortgage became our number one requests. Food, there's so much food deserts and food insecurity aligning with what community needs to formulate our programs. And we went literally ball rolling like this is what we have to do. And we showed up 15 years strong now.
Amen.
Wow. impressive. That's what I'm talking about.
Very good.
Miss Cynthia.
Yes, yes. I had the pleasure, privilege, honor to serve in the Army for 25 years and 8 months. Started out rough. Uh, I was shy and an introvert, and I can tell you firsthand that the Army will take all of that away.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that was not a problem as I realized that, oh, I have to be responsible for what other people do. Oh, I got it now. So that leadership was developed, and I can tell you, we say for God and country, but I truly enjoyed my 25 years of service. I absolutely enjoyed it. Um, when I got out of the Army, I was a contractor uh, teaching the SHARP program, that's sexual harassment, assault response, and prevention. Did it as a contractor, and then I became a GS employee. And the requirement for the position would be to move to Fort Leavenworth. Now, to go from Atlanta to Leavenworth, that's a hard bargain. So here
Yeah.
I am, still in Atlanta, but I enjoyed it. And after the military, it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? I was thinking, okay, I'm going to kick my heels up. I'm just going to do me, as people say. But Mrs. Tiffany Morman, my dear friend, she was like, hey, let's go to this meeting. This is Black Veterans Helping Veterans. So there we went to this meeting. We became a part of the planning process, the naming convention, and all of that. Then here comes Miss Tiffany Morman. Let's go out to the VFW, Fairburn, post 6449. Okay. So we went out there, and I tell you, we've been joined at the hip. That is my sister. We have done some great things. I mean, triple nickel. We're both in the Robert F. Greene Atlanta chapter, and we're also in the J.J. Corbett chapter of the triple nickels located in Tampa. And that is our last known living uh, original triple nickel.
Wow.
103 years old. He's
Wow.
going strong, and he'll be 104 in November. And we're planning to go back to Florida and celebrate. He lives in Bartow, so we
Mhm.
were there to celebrate with him last November, and we plan to be back this November. I feel like God has blessed me with a successful career in the military, and what else could I ask for other than to give back to the community? I believe it was Shirley Chisholm that said, service is the rent we pay for living on this earth.
Yes,
And
Lord.
Okay.
that after a successful military career, what else could I ask for?
Wow.
Yes. Super humble.
Hey,
Super humble.
hey, hey, that was again encouraging. I'm like, wow. So it seems like Tiffany is a troublemaker over here, Cynthia.
No, no, she gets
Yeah.
stirred. She gets everybody stirred up and gets us busy in the community. I mean,
Mhm.
how can I feeding Georgia families? We have been joined at the hip for quite some time now.
She'd be
Mhm.
having me in cemeteries.
Yes, cleaning cemeteries and planting flowers and yeah,
Flags. Come
yeah,
on. Come
yeah.
on.
It has
Powerful.
Well,
been a blast.
we all need a sister like that, and this is
Absolutely.
it's kind of funny because all three of y'all are very similar. I feel a little scared over here. Like, what are y'all about to do next? And when I first met Anisa, she was at the Atlanta Black Chamber, Veteran Entrepreneur Group.
So
So
with it,
ultimately, there's 250 of us that turned around and was like, we can't work for people, or we want to try this entrepreneur thing. And she was one of the first people, kind of like Tiffany, like, hey, come to this meeting, come do this. And I was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
man, how come every time I go to a meeting, I meet a different person that got me going over here, and now I'm doing a
absolutely.
coat drive or I'm doing something amazing. And I'll be honest with you, we need people like you. So thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Anissa. Thank you, Cynthia. Because a lot of us, like I said, when I first met Anissa, I was lost. I was just like, hey, what am I doing? I just took a job with the government, took the drones from the Air Force, put them in the Army, and it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work. Then I was going through a divorce, and it was just like, hey, what am I doing next? And I think that's the commonology when it comes to us in the veteran space. Either you get it right or you think you have to get it right when you first get out, or you meet people like yourselves that encourage us to keep doing certain things and putting us in spaces that I think Cynthia, you said it earlier, I didn't think I was going to be here.
Mm.
That's the beautiful thing. I think we all can say it. Once we get out the military, we had a vision of where we wanted to go and what we were going to do. And then all of a sudden, when it don't work out, what's plan B? Then what's plan C? Sometimes it go all the way to plan Z. So talk to me a little bit about that, because I heard a shift. Like you said earlier, Cynthia, I didn't think I was going to be here. What did you think you were going to be doing when you get out?
Well, I thought I was going to be chilling out. I thought I was going to be kicking my heels up, doing whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. But I had not envisioned the nonprofit world, although I believe in service, not to the degree in which I am involved now.
Yeah,
I truly, to tell you the God's honest truth, I work harder now than I did in the Army
yeah.
with different organizations, and everyone is, within the nonprofit space, it's kind of hard to get people who are committed to doing something. And
Mm.
you get them like you want them to be that dog that's got the bone and they're not going to let that bone go. It's a little more challenging to find those people in the nonprofit world. It was easy to create them in the Army,
Very
but
Yes.
to do it in the
very
nonprofit space is a little different.
because you're dealing
Mm.
with volunteers. Anissa,
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
Anissa, same
that's
for you, or tell us a little bit, what's your sentiment on it?
Absolutely, no, I agree. High turnover nonprofit. It's competing funding. I mean, for 15 years to see all the changes, we saw the huge change we're in health, right? So it's the Affordable Care Act expanded and seeing a complete flop of 90% roughly of our clients who didn't have insurance, underinsured, and tend to see that flip, where, okay, maybe only 10% now are underinsured and don't have the insurance. And so then it's, okay, how do you pivot? So you constantly have to be innovative, you constantly have to pivot. And then if you don't have, those volunteers, those committed team members, who do you help to, train to work in your mission? And so now that AI has brought in some additional tools and resources, we're trying to implement every tool we can, which is sometimes challenging. We're in the middle of
Mhm.
writing our AI policy and having a legal review over it to make sure, because from federal to state to local, everyone's AI guidance looks different, and some of it's still, not formulated from different leaders. There's still some
Mhm.
fear around it, and so now we're making sure that, even via social media, things we're posting, our team is trained on the proper use of AI. Should be incorporated throughout our messaging and whatnot. One thing I will share too, I enjoyed one of our partners with Mission Continues that no longer has a program. And I remember this retired captain came to our organization and said, "Hey, I don't have a purpose anymore since I took off the uniform." And so
Mm.
when Mission Continues had this amazing program, I think it was only maybe 6 months and just a stipend, and no one really needed the finances, but it was the fact that you're aligned with a nonprofit to try to find that purpose after
Yeah.
service. And now the beautiful thing is, he has an amazing business now out of it, Captain Lance. And so he was working with our breast cancer patients, cutting their grass, mowing their lawn, getting leaves off, their gutters, and now has an amazing landscaping business. Now cuts my grass. And so it's that purpose factor again, right? Which is so
Mhm.
beautiful. And I'm glad that we're touching on that today.
giving dignity.
Yeah.
It gives dignity back where you think when we came out the uniform, duty, honor, respect, loyalty, selfless service. And like you,
Selfless service.
that's a beautiful story you just told about him gaining his purpose back and his dignity back and making a little money and being able to feed his family and himself and growing and feeling the support of his community and his village. I love that. I love that. And all of my businesses are very intertwined with all of my nonprofit work that I do. Atlanta Business Chronicle even honored Marty Transportation for as right because we deliver food for Feeding Georgia families. My
Wow.
chauffeurs were out delivering food. My company was deeply integrated with that company, that nonprofit, excuse me. And so that's something, that's a way that your profitable business go and support that nonprofit business. I have a question. I'm going to change the subject a little bit. Um, so we were talking about the nonprofits, and you went right to AI, which is the future, and I love that. But there's a little problem with I won't say it. I feel like it's a problem. It's been my experience, ladies and Jeremy, that
Hmm.
older the legacy
I
members.
like that name.
I want to call them the grand poobahs, right? The grand poobah. Usually it's the founding partner, the founding member, or one of the founders who
Hmm.
is maybe, at that grand poobah, should be on the big throne in the background back here while we're allowing the newer, more less seasoned members to go ahead and put their feet in the fire, right? And they won't release even to get to that AI level there that you want to get into that AI, but they're like, no, we'll just get this pencil out with this typewriter. And so my question to you is the challenge of the legacies lingering and still holding on to that, to that language, to that, I'll say control of the
Hmm.
organization, and maybe the vision is not growing.
Tiff, you froze a little bit. Okay.
She
Well,
froze.
I think I know where she's going with that. Like, how do we deal with the AI integration into the nonprofit space? And again, we do have a lot of seniors, and like she said, the grand poobahs. Uh, that it's going to take them a little bit longer. When we all know that the nonprofits really thrive off of moving very fast and pivoting with the times and so forth. So, can you expound a little bit on that?
Absolutely. It's up to us. It's our generation, it's our time to really move forward and show up at the VFWs, at all the legions, and have those conversations. But I think if they can't see us in the room, they're going to
Hmm.
continue to hold on to it. So I'm seeing where there's some transitions nationwide that's happening because we're showing up more, we're getting involved more, and they're feeling a little more confident to be able to pass the baton a little bit. Cynthia, did you have anything else there?
Well, I would say I am I'm on the side of the person who has the desire to do the work. And
Hmm.
if, although they become the grand poobahs, if you still have the will, then I would say still give them the space to do that. And I'm the behind the scenes type person. I've had my
Yeah.
time in the front and all of that, and I would prefer to work, behind the scenes or, in the rear with the gear, as we used to say. So some of our more seasoned people, and I consider myself in there, don't want to give up the reins I've experienced. And in my humble opinion, sometimes a less seasoned person, I think we should give the opportunity because at some point we're not going to be around. They're going to be the ones running these nonprofit organizations. So I'm kind of like straddling the fence. I wanted a willing heart, and that may be the older person that doesn't want to let go of the reins. And then we could be there in the background, kind of propping them up. But at the same time, we have to encourage them to release the reins to the younger community because they have the what's the word? The not momentum, but they have the staying power. They'll be there
Yeah.
longer than we will potentially.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing with us being in the military.
Yeah,
As we get
yeah.
older and we progress, we're building the future generation. And you sergeant major, it's like, hey, I got to build the next first sergeant, I got to build the next platoon sergeant, and so forth. And the officer ranks, I love that because when I first joined the American Legion, it was just like I was super excited coming out the military, I got all this energy, and then I was like, wow, my commander really does not like they don't understand. And it just kind of created this wall. And then it felt more, instead of being fun, it was more draining. And then
Yeah,
on the back end, it was like, I don't have the wherewithal to do all of this. I just want to have fun and make sure that we help the community. But then, you're helping other people, but you're killing yourself. And
Yeah.
so ultimately, I was like in the nonprofit space, almost everybody I've talked to said the same thing. They were like, I want to do this, but I don't want to fight. I didn't retire to fight, right? And
Yeah.
so when I met you guys, and it was just like, again, me and Anissa worked with the ABC a lot. It was just like, we're here helping entrepreneurs. We're all in the same space, and we're transforming and pivoting and learning to become businessmen and women. And now all of a sudden, you're fighting with people who are in the same boat as you. Like, what's the point?
When you're just trying to volunteer.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
yes, and be successful and find that purpose and be happy about, um, and I tell people this a lot of times. I think one of the biggest things that we don't understand as we get out the military is you're looking for a paycheck. When it's all said and done, a lot of us are really geared on having money, money, money. That's going to be the answer, and the quality of life and all that other stuff. But then all of a sudden, you don't find the quality in life, and you got a lot of money, the more money, more problems. And then you don't have a feeling of self-worth. I used to put my uniform on, and you couldn't tell me at the first art. I was not super happy that we're going to change. We waking up this
Breathe.
morning, we working this and that. And it
Breathe.
was like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? And you go home and you can sleep good at night. Well, for those of us that didn't have severe PTSD, you can,
Or
you can sleep
insomnia.
well. Oh, insomnia, exactly. But you still felt good. And I think that's a huge part of what we're missing now as we get out. We're trying to find that feeling. Is that something you guys can tell about? Is that part of what you're feeling right now that prepares you to keep doing what you're doing? Because the nonprofit space, it is extremely exhausting. And to say 15 years, and Cynthia, you said you've been doing this for like 20 plus years and so forth. That's amazing because most people who start nonprofit don't last but 5 to 10 years. And I
Yeah.
think it has a lot to do with how much it draws from you and it takes away from your family and so forth. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah. I actually, let me see. I think I joined Triple Nichols, the Atlanta chapter, first while I was still on active duty. So that was back in 2011. And although I've been in the organization since 2011, when I retired, I was a contractor and then a GS employee, and both positions required me to travel. And anytime I traveled, I was gone for 2 weeks at a time.
Wow.
And there were times that I came back on a Saturday and left out on the following day, headed to a new location to start all over again for 2 weeks. So I really have to take my hat off to my nonprofit sisters and brothers in arms, like Tiffany, Stan Ashford, all those people that held it down while I was overseas. And I spent a year and a half in Korea as a GS employee. So once I came back is when I became pretty much, dug in with the organization. And I think I do a good job, and I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, I put forth the effort, and you want me on your team. And
Mm,
I want people like you, Jeremy, like you, Anissa, and of course, Tiffany. I want people like you guys on my team because we're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because we want to serve. We're doing it from our heart, and it shows. And I
mm-hmm.
think that goes a long way.
Anissa?
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%. We found that the most dedicated people on our team, whether it's the board, volunteers, any level, it's if they don't have that passion of their why, it's a family member who was diagnosed with breast cancer. It's their own diagnosis that they overcame. And so if they don't
Mm-hmm.
have that in them, they're there for the wrong reasons. And we try to nip it in the bud early if we can catch it. I'm just here to serve on the board for a title. That looks good on my resume. I'm moving up in the next, career field. And so we have a very intensive interview process now. And so the first 10 years, trial and error. And moving forward, even the pandemic years were challenging, moving
Yeah.
into that hybrid space. What does that look like? You can do a lot of face to face and tell someone's energy just by a conversation in that environment. For us, it
Mm-hmm.
was hard to do on a Zoom, a Google Meets, a Teams, and to really see, what's this angle of this individual? Because some people are really good interviewers. but when you can sit down and break bread with someone and see what their motives are, what their intentions are, I think it goes a long way. So now that we're back out of the pandemic, we're doing more face to face. We're able to really, see who's really aligned with our mission so that we can move forward. Because without that, we're not helping the community in the way that we need to show up. And so we even do our monthly team meetings. We do a mental health check-in to make sure that our team is okay. Because if there's something going on in the family, like in the military, it's like leave the home stuff at home. You show up to
Yeah.
work, ready to rock and roll. And so when we had anyone who, even a receptionist on the phone, the way you're answering that's the first port of contact, for the organization, it matters. And so we
Yeah.
have to do intensive training to make sure that everyone's aligning with where we are. And not everyone's going to stay. They might be there for a reason. We want the lifetimers, right? But that's hard to come by, especially in the nonprofit space. So as long as I'm here 6 months, a year, 3 years,
Yeah.
whatever it is, I think our longest team member now is 6 years. And so at our 5-year anniversary, we bought her a new laptop, right? And so it's that same kind of military approach of taking care of your people. I remember reading a great book, and I can't remember the author, but it's one of the Amazon books, Taking Care of Your People. I had to reread that maybe every 3 years to make sure that we really are taking care of our people. Because in the military, you're going to get those promotions and the other
Yeah.
things, so they feel like, okay, yes, I still want to be here. I still want to keep this uniform on. But if we don't have that in the nonprofit space, we're going to lose people even more with already the high turnover rate that's going on.
Wow. So, man, thank y'all again. And one thing that both of you guys alluded to is taking care of your people, taking care of your people. Okay, I'm about to go with this, Anisa. Yeah, the people that we look at in the mirror a lot of times is nonprofit leader is the person that we turn around and we overlook the most. I know Anissa's got she got my cool nephew over there. I'm just gonna tell you, this dude is so, man, we get on boats and everything together. We went out to different programs and so forth. And I was just like, man, as a single mom, she's killing it. Cynthia, same thing with you. You just said, I travel a lot. And I know how that is to go TDY all the time because that's what I did when I retired. And it was just like you come here for a day, turn around and put your paperwork in, and you're gone 2 days later.
And you
So on
wonder
the
why you're paying a mortgage
exactly,
because you're
like
always
really,
gone.
right? But on the family, now the family's taking a hit. And then, again, we worry about as leaders, because that's what the military focuses on, the selfless service. That's one of the things I love about the leadership acronym is like selfless services in there. But guess what? We don't look at ourselves. And I think throughout transition, going through multiple different programs, I had to stop and take time to go to the Camp Southern Grounds and the UHPs and be like, wait a minute, it's okay for me to feel, and I got to put everything else off aside to get with Jeremy. So how is that for you? And then on the other part B of that, it's one thing where we do talk about the veteran space a lot of time, but the female veteran has a different challenge than the male veteran a lot of time. And so with having both two great female veterans here, both, again, airborne and different things like that, a lot of challenges that you face in the military, you find after you get out in the veteran space, is it more challenging especially being in that fast-paced environment, or is it more challenging out as a female veteran and having resources and different things like that? So the first question is the self-care, and then the second part is the challenges as the female veteran.
I'll start out. The challenge, it was definitely a challenge on active duty. As a female, I remember going to a particular meeting stationed on Camp Casey, 2nd Infantry Division, and they were
Cool.
like, okay, where is First Sergeant Barron? And I'm sitting there the whole time. Oh, well, when First Sergeant Barron gets here, and I'm like, he's right here. Because they just assumed that because First Sergeant is the title, that it was going to be a male. And the times of if I offer up an idea, no, that won't work. But if a male says the same thing I said, just with two different words, also all of a sudden became a good idea. So, that was a challenge. And once I got out of the Army and became a contractor and also a DA civilian, and I was like, I only have to do one thing. I only have to be good at one thing. I'm gonna kill it. So, I mean, the military was good, even though there was some sexism and some other isms along the way. I think it made me a stronger person and prepared to do
Mhm.
nonprofit work. And it's I only have to be good at one thing per organization, oh, kind of like two or three things, but
Mhm.
it's easy work in comparison.
But what about that self-care now? That's the second
Oh,
part of the
I'm
question.
glad you said that. I still have
Mhm.
to work on saying no. And even though I know no is a complete sentence, but when you do nonprofit work and people know that you're not just going to check the box, you're going to do the work, they want to ask you to do everything and you can't do everything. So you just have to kind of push back and encourage them to do like we did when we were in the military, kind of develop and mentor the younger ones to come up and take our place because we're not here for infinity. Somebody's going to
Mhm.
take our place and it's our responsibility to ensure that they're prepared to take our place. So I do need to work on self-care. But I'm working on it and I still need some work.
I feel you. And I love that you started off saying no. We have to work on saying no, which
Yeah,
leads right into Superwoman over here. That's
there you
right, man.
go.
Yes, no, I agree 100%, Cynthia. No is a complete sentence, and
Hmm.
I'm doing better at that. But I will say I was not good at that until I became a mom. And it was my 2-year-old son that took my phone as I'm sending an email off and took it to the other side of the house. And that's when I said, there's no such thing as work life balance.
Yeah,
It's being present in any moment when you can. And
absolutely.
so whenever I'm with my son, it's my son and I time. And
Good,
that's it. And
good.
my team knows that, the board knows that, everyone knows that I'm unavailable. No is a complete sentence. And so I'm so glad that you started with that, Jeremy, on the self care piece.
Yeah.
And whenever my team is feeling, I just need a wellness day, we're not corporate, we're nonprofit, but I think nonprofits have to think business as well. We have to run like a business, we have to make money like a business, we have to take care of our people like a business. And if we don't do that, we're hurting the mission, we're hurting the people we serve, and we can't really do the work. And so, anyone on the team, hey, I need a wellness day. I need some time. When we had our bigger office, we did massages at least once a month. And I remember looking at this off of someone who worked at Google at the time, and we were doing a nonprofit project with Google.
Mhm.
I said, you know what, we should do massages too, and in our nonprofit space, and so we did.
I like it.
And we hired a masseuse, and so our masseuse specialized in lymphatic massage for our breast cancer patients, but also took care of our team. And that to me was important. I said, if we're telling our survivors to be advocates for health, our veterans, just because you come back, out of the military and you forget about your health sometimes, we have to pay attention. We have to make sure that we're
Mhm.
still doing the self-care things that we did to be able to show up and put up that uniform on. We're still putting a different type of uniform on when we serve, in the nonprofit space. No matter what client needs, whatever, we're giving them, if we're not taking care of ourselves, we cannot take care of them at all. So I think that's very important. And I won't say which one's harder than the other,
Mhm.
military or coming out. I think both had some challenging moments in different parts. I think when I got out, it was a horrible recession. And so that had its own challenges, but
Mhm.
also now it's new challenges, new administration, new funding cuts. Our biggest contract was with the CDC and the Department of Public Health. And so when we lost that contract and knew it wasn't getting renewed, watching CDC be dismantled was probably one of the hardest things that I had to witness in the nonprofit sector for
Yeah.
us, that unrestricted funds. And so it's okay, how do we pivot? And so that's when I, hit you up, Jeremy. I said, hey, do you want to do a 9/11 service project with our organization? Let's partner. And I think funders want to see more nonprofits partnering together. And it helps. If we're not doing the work in silos like we did 10, 20 years ago, it helps relieve the stress, which
Mhm.
impacts our mental health and all of it. And so we weren't trained a lot in the military and emotional intelligence and all the other things. And I think in the nonprofit sector and corporations.
Oh no,
No.
another person
Oh,
froze.
it's that Friday. The aliens have got us,
It's that
Cynthia.
Friday. It's not even the 13th. But if I,
But
as Anissa
yeah,
was speaking, I was thinking about how I will say the Triple Nickel Robert F. Green chapter and the VFW Post 6449,
mhm,
we work well together. And I think one of the reasons that we work well together is because we were actually brothers and sisters in arms on active duty, coming out of
right.
ARCENT. And then we, became part of the VFW and the Triple Nickel. And we have, the Triple Nickel has a Friends and Family Day on
Mhm.
Saturday, the first Saturday in June. And I'm not looking at a calendar at the moment, but that is a friends
Uh-huh.
and family barbecue, be more food than you can ever eat. We invite you to the VFW to join us. In addition,
Right.
the VFW on the third Saturday has they call it barbecue. It's a barbecue competition. So feel free to
Okay.
join us at Post 6449.
Oh, look, Prentice has already been trying to hit me up. You know, I work with
Good,
him.
good. I hope to see you
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. We need to do more collaboration in the space. I think Anissa hit it on the head.
Yeah,
Back in the days, it seemed like all the nonprofits competed, and it made sense because of funding. The same thing, Legion versus VFW. We're all trying to
yeah,
compete for certain things, right? And if we unify, we could do more together. And
absolutely. And that's what I was just going to say.
the partnership seemed to be the new wave. It's a pivot. It's a major pivot for all the organizations. And I heard another guy said that he thought that the VFWs and American Legions and stuff were going to die, like because of the systematic, the mindsets. We're
Right,
not wanting to pivot and we're not wanting to partner. But I
right.
was like, no, we all kind of are dual headed anyway. I'm in the American Legion and the VFW and the DAV and
Absolutely.
this and that. And I think you hit it on the head. It's a beautiful thing when you join those organizations with people who you were on active duty with.
Absolutely. Because that bond is already created. And we
The
don't want to,
family,
yeah,
yeah,
we don't want to work. I don't want to work my partner, my battle buddy to my left and right. And I'm sitting at home with my feet kicked up. I mean, we're dedicated to each other in addition to the mission.
yeah, the family continues, as I call it. I
Yeah,
say that all the
yeah,
time when I'm doing stuff. Is like, I love being in this space. Helmets Boots. I try to connect with every service organization on the planet. And
yeah,
people are like, well, how do you do that? I said, well, the beautiful thing about it is if I work with you, all the branches and while we were on active duty, and it collectively got the bigger picture done, why
right.
not do the same thing here? But see, I think that's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
So do you see a lot of that too now with where you're at?
I don't see it so much because I'm so dug into the VFW, Triple Nickel Atlanta, Triple Nickel Tampa, and also feeding Georgia families. I don't see it as much because I'm
Mhm.
not in other organizations like I'm in those four. But I tell anybody a partnership is the best way to go because we're stronger together. And I know it's a tag or a motto, whatever you want to call it, but it's true. It is very true.
Mhm. Yeah,
Both
it's a beautiful
organizations can
thing too.
shine at the same time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful statement too, because I was like, ultimately, that's why I'm where I'm at. I want to be a connector for everybody, but it was just like you said, there's so many different things we're tackling, from homelessness, suicides. We had food disparities. We got, we lost Uber and Lyft and different things like that. So the problems of life continue.
Oh, for
And
sure.
then all of a sudden, we don't have the assets and we don't have the resources. There's no way in the world that one individual entity can cover that. And I look at ACS, we had Army Community Service that did a
Yeah,
good job of covering a plethora of things, but then we had JAG, and then
yeah,
we had something for physical fitness and so forth. And so I think you hit it on the head too, that we need to look at the same thing, same principles we did in the military. We had a
absolutely.
family day and an organization day and
Yeah, it's tested and
soldier team
true.
development. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
keep it going.
So how would you say a lot of the things that you've done in the military, the skills that you learned, we have a lot of attributes that come from service. How would you say that that plays into how you move in the nonprofit space?
I think having a successful military career, I had the opportunity to get some benefits, some amenities because of my rank, but I didn't want to use my rank for certain things. And I
Mhm.
feel like I was shown grace in the military, and I want to show that same grace in the nonprofit space. I mean, we have a charter and we have our objectives, and I would say that the VFW and the triple nickels have gone beyond what our bylaws say we're about. We don't
Hmm.
just check the block, we go above and beyond what we say we're going to do for the community.
Yeah. And see, I love that. It's not just what I'm trying to work on is reframing the terms. Like you said, the veteran space. Everybody talk about the veteran. Oh no, it's the veteran, it's the spouse, and then it's the community.
Yeah,
Ultimately, the veteran space makes up 3% of the world. Active duty makes up 7%. And then you have 90% of the world that never served. But
right,
that's the 90% we came out of, and those that surrounding that environment, that community is going to be the people that we need to help us transition back from a space that we were also heavily trained upon to get away from so we can do a certain thing. Well, that requirement's not there anymore.
right.
So I have to pivot back into being Jeremy when I was a first sergeant. Well,
Yeah,
first sergeant, that had an end date, but I'm
yeah,
Jeremy now and I'm a
right.
dad and I'm a neighbor and so forth. And I really think that nonprofit space is where we really get a lot of it, not just focusing on a job, because that can, to me, it helps continue the military. Hey, I
Yeah,
got a job to do. That's my focus, but the rest of the life skills, the rest of the environment that you're trying to get back into, it heavily gets pushed to the side because we're all workaholics.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's my
unfortunately.
safe space.
Yeah, for
What do
sure.
you think about that?
You hit the nail on the head. If I'm doing nonprofit work, I mean, I'm doing it to death. But then when I need to do stuff for myself, I procrastinate. And
Hmm.
I don't know why that is. I guess I need to sit on somebody's couch and figure that all out. But I would like to bring more people like you and I, Anissa, and Tiffany, and all of our other nonprofit comrades to after retiring from the military. Some friends are like, "What do you do all day? Come out and join
Hmm.
us at the VFW. Come join us with triple nickels." And some of them don't, and I no judgment here, but I
Yeah.
just wish we had more people like us on the team and making some things happen. Because if the military doesn't teach you anything, you're going to be dependable and you're going to be consistent.
Oh yeah. And like you said, more people like us. Well, I figure it's sad. It's a handful of people like us that
Yeah,
make a mighty impact versus a whole bunch of us that are wasting time.
absolutely.
And I always say the lions run with lions, and that's
Mhm.
one of the attributes that we get from the military. We've been
Yeah,
geared and programmed to be a certain type of way, but not everybody's going to be a lion. You're going to have a bunch of hyenas that waste time and laugh and giggle, and you're like, "What are you doing?" But when you go back and ask yourself and look in the mirror, what do I do all day? You go right back to work. That's
yeah,
that's again, it's been programmed in us to be our
yeah,
safe space, our happy zone, and different things. And now you're coming back to, well, I don't know what to do. And
right.
so that's where I was like, I really like the fact that having a nonprofit, again, there's no pressure. You can come in and you can say, hey, I want to do something until you figure it out. Or maybe we may be a stepping stone to getting some information so you can get to that spot where now you're in a different, you found a different educational uh, platform, or you found some type of thing that you didn't even know. You challenged yourself by coming in this space. And now you can't sit with yourself and be like, you know what? When I'm by myself, I'm good with this.
Yes,
I
yes,
didn't know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what do you think about that?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. As you were speaking, I don't remember exactly what you said, but you made me think about old back in the day in out on active duty. We used to say, if you can't run with the big dog, stay on the porch. But we even if you can't run with the big dogs, we still want you out here in the nonprofit space doing what you can. I mean, it's the civil rights activists were like, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Everybody
Hmm.
can do something.
Oh yeah. And it
Yeah.
don't cost you anything. A lot of times it's a
And you get a
beautiful
benefit
thing.
of it. I enjoy nonprofit work, going out to
Hmm.
volunteer for bingo, going out cleaning cemeteries, planting flags on veterans' gravestones, and all of that. I enjoy it. I'm blessed to do it. And even more, I'm blessed to do it with the people that I do it with
Oh
the
yeah.
VFW, Post 6449, Robert F. Green chapter of the Triple Nickels, JJ Corbett chapter of the Triple Nickels in Tampa, and feeding Georgia families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Helmets to boot. So thank
And
you so
Hillman's
much.
the boots.
That's right. So
Yep.
on that note, Cynthia, thank you so much for taking the time
Thank you,
today.
Jeremy and Tiffany.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invite. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, I love my co-host to death, so I'm glad
Oh,
that
me too. Me too.
again through this organization, this platform, I get to meet some amazing people, and now we get to take over the world.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that's
Like
our
Pinky
time
in the
for today.
brain.
Not pinky in the brain.
Yes,
No,
old school.
my head is too big to be to be
No,
pinky.
stop
I'm just
it.
gonna leave that alone. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All
So
right,
we're wrapping
Jeremy.
up. We're wrapping up the show with that. And again, we had some amazing guests today. We want to thank again Miss Cynthia Barron. We had the great, amazing Anisa Palmer, and always my co-host Miss Tiffany Morman. I am Jeremy Walker. I'm the host and I'm the founder and CEO of Helmets to Boots. And guess what? You just saw an amazing show where we have people who are telling you our hearts are in everything we do. So you can reach out to us here. You can reach out to us through all the individual organizations we talked about today. And this is wrapping up the last show of our season. We will be back in September. We thank you and love you all. And for our veterans and the family members and the communities, thank you all for your service.